So the name of that song is called Make Me a Pallet on Your Floor. And that was actually the first song that I learned how to play when I started playing jazz music, or, you know, Black American music, as it were. And so the story goes that I was at an all-boy, all-Catholic, all-Black high school in New Orleans called St. Augustine High School. And this was my freshman year, so it was 1992, April 93. And Wynton Marsalis came to do a clinic during Jazz Fest. Jazz Fest sponsored him. And so he's at the clinic, and he's clean, he's dressed to the nines. And, you know, I heard of Wynton, obviously, but I'd never met him at that point. And I remember the night before, I was just like ironing my uniform and shining my shoes and, you know, just making sure I looked good, because I knew of his reputation of just being clean. So my dad was actually in the audience. It was open to the public. So Wynton did the concert, and he's clean, and he's playing the trumpet with his right hand. He's playing piano at the same time with his left hand. He's directing the jazz ensemble, taking questions from the audience. And I had never seen that whole package put together in person like that. So concert's over with. I immediately go up to my dad. He was in the audience. He came to the stage, and I was like, you know, I'm like stammering and, you know, huffing and puffing and panting. I was like, that's what I want to do. That was the moment that I decided I wanted to become a musician. And so my dad was like, give your grandfather a call. My grandfather is Clarence Ford Sr., who's a world-renowned woodwind player, saxophone, baritone, tenor, clarinet, all of the above. Played with some of the greatest early rock and roll musicians and jazz musicians. Toured with Fats Domino for decades, and on many, many early rock and roll records that came out in New Orleans. I didn't call him. It took me another year and a half for me to finally decide to call him. I got kicked out of St. Aug for disciplinary and academic problems, and my dad actually came and got me back in school, reinstated. But I was like, Daddy, it's like, I think I'm done. I want to go to NOCA, the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts, and which is New Orleans' performing arts high school. The Marsalis family, Harry Connick Jr., Trombone Shorty, Terrence Blanchard, Nicholas Payton. The list goes on and on and on. Wendell Pierce, great actor. Anyway, so I had a friend who was at St. Aug, a trumpet player, great trumpeter in New Orleans right now, Kevin Lewis. He was phenomenal at St. Aug, but then he left to go to NOCA, and I saw what happened to his plan. I was like, yeah, I got to go to NOCA. Plus my uncle Lewis Ford, great saxophone player, also left St. Aug and went to NOCA. So I saw the trajectory. I said, if I want to be a great musician, I've got to go through this path. And so I called my grandfather up. It was the summer of 1994. And I had to go to summer school for biology or something. I don't remember. He said, okay, after the summer school, every day, just catch the bus to my house. And so I did. First day, he gave me this cassette tape. It was a white cassette tape. And it said, it was called Louis Cottrell's Creole Jazz Band. I don't remember all of the personnel. I think Jerry Adams was on bass, maybe Ed Frank on piano. My grandfather was on clarinet. And Wendell Bruni is one of the world's greatest trumpeters, world-renowned from New Orleans, was playing trumpet. My grandfather told me, pick a song and learn it. So Make Me a Pallet on Your Floor stood out to me. So I just decided to learn that one. So maybe a week later or a few days later, I go back, and my grandfather was at the piano. He's like, all right, which tune you want to play? Which one did you learn? I said, Make Me a Pallet on the Floor. He said, okay. So we played it. I played it, and he accompanied me on piano. And then I remember I got to the part where I played that blue note thing. That kind of thing. And I heard Wendell do it, so I did it too. And my grandfather stopped, and he turned over his shoulder and looked at me, and he was just shaking his head. And he was the first thing he said to me is, "You're gonna be better than your daddy." And he meant it as a compliment, but I didn't take it as a compliment. My daddy was my hero, and I wanted to be just as good as him, but I never fathomed or could think of the idea of actually being better than him, nor did I want to be. And my grandfather was just like, I mean, the smile from ear to ear. I mean, you know, that moment stands out to me as one of the greatest moments of my life. I was 16 years old, and I just began my journey with this horn and this music. And, you know, wherever I go in the world, wherever I travel, wherever I perform, wherever I'm teaching, that moment I take with me. And during the darkest times, during the leaner times, you know, it's that moment that I can go back to remind me of why I do what I do, why I play what I play, and why I aspire to be as true as I possibly can to myself in this music, my music. And, you know, that was just a powerful, powerful moment for me. And I hope that I can impart that same feeling to you when I play and to students when I teach. So yeah, that song is called Make Me a Pallet on Your Floor. And it was the first tune that I learned when I decided I wanted to be a musician.